Hi guys, and welcome back to Prayer and Penguins. Today we are flipping through my 2023 bullet journal to have a look at what it looks like at the end of the year now it's all been filled in. So you can see how I've used the spreads that I made at the beginning of the year, as well as how I've used this bullet journal kind of throughout the year for my kind of daily and weekly planning too. Maybe this will give you some ideas for your bullet journal, or maybe you're just here to be nosy. Either is absolutely fine. I love having a look at how other people have used their own bullet journal. But let's dive in. So this is the Dingbats Dotted A5 notebook. It has all these kind of keys and index at the beginning. As you can see, I didn't use them as a ton. I didn't find that massively helpful, just for me personally. I did obviously start using this index page and then probably stopped. It's not something that I feel like I need or use massively for my bullet journals. But here we dive into my actual spreads. So we start with my prayer for 2023, which I cut out on a piece of paper and stuck in. This was a prayer that I was able to come back to throughout the year and just keep looking at this prayer. Then we have my 2023 in colour spread. This is fairly kind of typical for me, where I get to like halfway through the year, just over, and then kind of fall off the wagon in terms of actually remembering to fill it in. I always tend to kind of take a break from my bullet journal around like August time, which is like this massive gap. So you can see that is where I fell off the bandwagon, and we do have a solution for this for 2024, so if you've seen my 2024 bullet journal setup, you will see what we are doing differently with this spread this year. Then we come to my 2023 kind of future log. This is just kind of how I tend to use my future log. I just have birthdays and then a couple of other kind of key events. Again, very kind of first half of the year heavy, and I then don't really use it towards the end of the year. Again, I'm doing it slightly differently this year, and hopefully it will look a bit better and make a bit more sense. But the main thing I use this for is birthdays, so it is still useful for that. Then we come on to my goals spreads, and this looks a bit unused, definitely, but it was still useful for me, it was still helpful. I very much did start by memorising these scriptures, so I got through these 4, and then I did do a few more, and then kind of fell off that a little bit. Try new things just wasn't a super helpful goal for me. I wasn't sure what to include there. There probably were some new things that I tried, but I just didn't remember that this was a goal and kind of what to include there, what not to include there. So that's just a learning thing for me, that's a bit too vague for my goals. Post 6 meals, we definitely did do more than one. Again, I just haven't included them very well in here. Investing in my marriage, again, I started strongly filling this out and then kind of drifted off, but this was incredibly helpful at the beginning of the year to get me into some good habits and to help me just do a couple of things that were helping me to invest in my marriage and track those. And then it wasn't that I stopped doing them, I just stopped tracking them. So we're still going to call that a bit of a win there. Then it comes to ministry section, so I have my 4 sermons completed, and I do have some more that I can add on. Create and sell resources, I just never did this. This was a goal that I did not achieve, and it just wasn't really a focus for me in this year in the end. 1,000 subscribers was my big goal for this year, and I did complete that earlier this year. I just haven't quite coloured in this 1,000. Read 25 books I completed. Couch to 5k, I decided not to do that. I kind of just skipped doing a park run and just didn't need to do all of the weeks of Couch to 5k. It just wasn't what I needed, and that wasn't the most helpful way for me to do it in the end. But I have now done a park run, so we have technically got where we wanted to go with this goal, just not in this route. Do 23 fun things, we will get onto in a second. And then genre mix-up. This, I actually have done a Christian book now, I think probably a historical and a contemporary, but I don't think I've done a classic or an autobiography this year, which is interesting and maybe something that I shall try and do in 2024. But that one was mostly just a bit of fun to kind of help me with my reading. Then we come on to my 23 in 2023 challenge, and the mistake that I made here was not filling this all in before the year started. So a couple of these things I have added on, but I was going to just add them as I went along. But again, if I do that, I just tend to not fill in the rest. I'm not sure what to add and what not to add. But most of the things that I have put on here, I have completed. Go to a glow event we also did on New Year's Eve itself, so that one I can add in now. And book something fun for 2024. We do now have something booked for October 2024, so I need to fill that one in too. Go on holiday is a tricky one for me, because do I count going on holiday to my parents' house as a holiday? Is that what I mean by a holiday? Do I mean something else? What do I mean? I don't know. But that can probably be filled in. And dinner date I did not complete, I don't believe. So that's fine. But then we just have a couple of empty boxes, which is fine, but I could have filled those in with something. Then we come on to my 23 23s in 2023 challenge, and this again was kind of a mixed success failure type things. You can see that from some of these I completed very easily and some things that I barely got off the ground for. But this is a fun spread. I do really enjoy this spread. My one mistake I made was I lost the coloured pens for this at one point and couldn't find them. So then I didn't feel like I could fill this in without the correct pens. So that's a me problem rather than a spread problem. But my advice to you would be to either make sure you know where those pens are constantly, or make it so that it's multicoloured and it doesn't matter what colour you use. And there's lots of things I could say in here about kind of which things were good to track, which things weren't good to track, what worked and didn't work, and you'll see some of that in my 24/24s in 2024 as to what things I've kept and what things I haven't kept. But some things did work, some things didn't work, some things I did do but were just difficult to track, and there's things that I've kind of added in on these spreads to kind of track the details of them. I did like having like games played, the films that I've watched, those kind of things written down so I can remember what I've watched and what games we've played, but other things just kind of weren't really quite so needed. We are going to skip over my scriptures to read when you feel ... spread, because we're going to have a whole video on this channel dedicated to that spread and going through different Bible verses to read when you're feeling these different emotions. So make sure you're subscribed if you'd like to see that video. But now we come on to my Bible reading and prayer board spread. As you can see from this one, I didn't use it very well. I have kept this spread in my 2024 bullet journal, and hopefully I'm going to be better at actually remembering to do it. I have obviously read more of the Bible than just Galatians, but I just didn't track it very well, and then there were things where I was like, oh, have I read that? Have I read it properly? Have I read it enough? So I have a bit more kind of boundary around what I mean this year. My prayer board I really enjoyed having in. I have covered this up just because there's some like personal details about things that I've been praying for other people that I don't want to just put all over the internet, but there are a fair amount of prayers in here and things that I've ticked off as answered prayers, as well as things that I'm continuing to pray for. And these categories just work really well for me. So we have me, my husband, my daughter, family, friends, community, country and world as the categories that I use and add in my prayers. And these are just kind of simple things, not massively detailed things in this section, but just simple things that I want to keep on praying for throughout the year. Then we come on to my reading tracker section of my bullet journal. This spread is literally just to write down all of the books that I've read in the year and their star ratings, and this just looks very nice and satisfying to me. I'm very happy with this. Then we come on to my Around the World tracker, where I track where the author is from as well as where the book is set around the world. Again, as normal, UK and North America are the highest, but I do have kind of a decent smattering of other countries represented here. That is something that I want to get higher in 2024 and make this look a bit less top heavy. Then my Read Your Shelves spread looks pretty bare, to be honest. This one is my ebooks shelf, and then this is my physical books shelf. This one, it was literally one physical book. I did not read very many of my physical books this year. If you've seen my top books of 2023 and my reading stats video, I talk about that a bit more, about why I haven't read very many physical books in 2023, but this kind of depicts that quite clearly. Then we come on to my wish list, which just had a few things that I wanted to keep a note of that I either wanted or needed to buy for certain things throughout the year. This was very helpful for kind of Christmas present ideas, as well as just kind of remembering things that I needed to get later. And here we have my 30 before 30 reading challenge. I still have a good few more years before 30, so we still have time to complete lots of these books. Then we have my gift cards tracker, which is again just super helpful to remember when things are going to expire and how much I have to spend, as well as my running tracker to track all the runs I've done this year. This does look a bit abysmal, but my times have very much improved, so this is really interesting to have a look at, particularly kind of the different park runs that I've done. You'll see in my 2024 bullet journal setup that I have tweaked both of these ever so slightly, but they are both very much still there and still something that I use regularly, so I really like these spreads. So that's it for kind of my initial setup spreads. So now we're going to flick a bit faster through some of my monthly and weekly spreads that I have in here. This was kind of the beginning of the year, the setup that I went for on a monthly basis. I liked to include a Bible verse that I was trying to memorise, and then just some events, things to do, goals, and the following month. And I have continued this setup on a monthly basis throughout the whole of 2023. I just made it quicker for myself. And then we move on to my weekly spreads. These are all pretty much the same format. This is a format that I really like just to track my events and to-do list. My February setup is all in red, and we continue with this same design. March is in green and yellow, and we were looking at Psalm 139 verses 13 to 14. I did like this kind of green and yellow colour palette. Then we get to purple for April. I didn't quite realise how exactly the same all of these spreads were. This was clearly working for me. May, we've got a bit of a orange and blue mishmash going on. I did do a setup for Thy Kingdom Come and then never used it in the way I was planning, but hey. We've got more of these setups before we get to August. So you'll notice we kind of skipped June and July in here somewhere. I'm not even sure what months these ones are, but that was kind of when I stopped using my bullet journal quite a bit. And even August, I think there's not much in there. Yeah, before we get to September, because over the summer I just do use my bullet journal a lot less. I'm having a bit of a slumpy summer often. I stopped uploading videos here on my YouTube channel, which you'll have seen, and it just kind of goes a bit mishmashy. And then we come back for September and try and get back on track. And I think I just need to embrace that. And that is the beauty of a bullet journal, is that I can just not make June and July and it's not a problem. But we came back with September and I included my autumn TBR here from my Penguins Choose My TBR video. Then we go through September, and here I also included 10 things I want to do before 2024. I did quite a lot of these. I don't think I hosted a games day, although we did. We had one. Maybe I did do that. I did not catch up on my scrapbook, and that is now one of my 2024 mini goals. I did go to a Glow event, as I mentioned, and I don't think I read 20 books. I think it was just less than that, so we were nearly there. We were close. I also had a spread for just video planning and helping to kind of get my mind sorted in terms of what videos I needed to do before the end of the year, before we go into October, and we're back to this monthly setup. And again, the same spreads for the rest of the year. November in blue. I have my gift planning sheets of just ideas for different people, cards that I wanted to write, ideas for my 2024 bullet journal, including what I wanted to keep, change or lose. Then I had a bit of a content planning spread in terms of videos, YouTube shorts, blog posts. Again, I didn't massively fill this in, but it just helped me to kind of get my mind straight on what was happening when. Before we get back into these weekly spreads and my December monthly spread. And here I did, for the first time in the whole year, mix up the format that I was doing. So I have these 8 days for different events, just from the 17th to the 24th of December, and then I can't remember what this is called, but the kind of to-do list where I can move what day I'm going to do it on. So this, for me, is a big lesson that I'm going to be taking into 2024 to mix up how I'm doing my bullet journal and not feeling like I need to stick to that weekly rhythm. Actually, if I want to look at something for a whole month, do a monthly spread. If I want to look at something for 3 months, do a quarterly spread. If I want to do it like this where my to-do list is for a whole week, that is fine. Just do whatever works best for me at that point, rather than feeling like I need to stick to the other format of weekly. This was a bit of a list of things I'd ordered and whether they'd arrived and whether I'd wrapped them for presents, and that is the end of my bullet journal. I still have quite a few pages that I can use in here, so I will be continuing to use this bullet journal for just random to-do lists, testing out pages. I think I've got a tester page in here for different spreads for my 2024 bullet journal, but this is just some extra notebook space I can use this year too. But that is my 2023 bullet journal. We really hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed having a little nosy in my 2023 bullet journal, and maybe it gave you some ideas for your bullet journal for this year. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me and Arnold. We create videos every Saturday all about prayer, exploring the Bible and living out your faith, as well as planning and bookish and motherhood content too. And if you would like to see my 2024 bullet journal set up with all of kind of the learnings from this year and what I'm doing differently and what's staying the same, then do check out this video right here. And we will see you very soon for a new video. Bye!